Mr. Parker here to review a new one from Arrow USA, a Blu-ray release of Psychomania, made in 1972 by Don Sharp. This is actually the first time I saw this movie. This was released by Severn Films at one point on DVD, and I never got a chance to check that one out. But yeah, it was cool to see it in HD. Essentially what we have here is a motorcycle gang that wreaks havoc, and they kill themselves, and they believe that they will come back to life due to some weird occult kind of stuff involving frogs and weird stuff, and they end up coming back, and basically what happens is they wreak more havoc than they already did. What's cool about Psychomania is there's a lot of stunts in here, a lot of crazy kind of stuff that they do, and that's really the highlight of the movie. It's not a gory horror film, it's not packed with nudity or sleaze or anything like that. It definitely has that classy kind of British feel to it, but it's definitely, it's having fun with itself, and in particular some of the suicides that the kids do is definitely kind of tongue-in-the-cheek black humor, and I appreciate that. What another standout moment in Psychomania, or aspect of the movie, is definitely the score. The soundtrack is really cool. It's very memorable. It has like a rock element in there as well. It's stuck in my head. It'll probably be for days. But that's kind of a cool highlight. The stunts in there. The movie is hokey for sure, and it's very tame, and it's very you'd show your kid it. It's kind of a introductory level horror movie, except the suicide and the whole idea of coming back after you kill yourself. It's probably not a great idea to show your kid, but you know it's nothing too horrific in there, and I can see why it's a cult movie. It's got a great title, it's got a great cover, it's got great music, and the idea is fun. And not to mention it, there's not many movies that are kind of like stunt biker more oriented horror films. You know, there's a couple out there, but yeah, the Psychomania actually looks really good, especially for 1972, and you see some of the features, how they restored it. They actually only found like a couple different negatives of them, and I'm not an expert on negatives, of course, but they found a beat up, I think, 16 millimeter color print, and then they found a black and white print. They're not necessarily, these are like special kind of prints, like negatives, not necessarily negatives, but they had to combine the prints and do all this stuff in restoration. They show how they did it kind of in a little minute and 47. I thought that was really interesting. There's interviews ported over from the old Severn DVD, and then there's some more interviews as well on there, some new ones with, you know, the guy who does the song, the theme music in there, and the guy who scores it and stuff like that. So it was interesting, nice little release there, and it was definitely one of the movies that I'm happy I watched. I mean, I probably wouldn't revisit Psychomania 150,000 times or anything, but I definitely would say, yeah, you guys should check it out. It's fun, it's British, it's you know, hokey, but has a nice dark sense of humor to it. And there is some funny moments though that at times the kids really are like they're not really that scared or shocked or anything at all the insanity that's going on, and you got to give it up for the kind of weird surreal stuff with the frogs and the cult. I think that occult stuff, and I think that's kind of fun. And there's a really cool cemetery scene where a guy drives right out of a grave, and you got to give that up. Not as cool as Cemetery Man's driving out of the grave, but probably actually inspired Cemetery Man's driving out of the grave. But Psychomania, it looks pretty good on Blu-ray. It's a fun little British film with a cult following. And the actors in the movie are having a good time too. You can definitely tell. All besides maybe George in there. But yeah, I'm Mr. Parker. I'd say check this release out. It looks good on Blu-ray, and it's a nice package, and it's not very expensive. It's over on Amazon for about $18, $19. And for Arrow, that's a hell of a deal. Have a good one, guys.
Let's get out of it, Abby. Let's cross over.
Cross over?
To the other side.
And he started a good long way away and drove down the ramp and then into the grave and up the other side. Well done, Cliff. That was good. That was one he didn't end up in hospital.
The soundstage at Shepperton was great for Muir Matheson and the London Sinfonia, but it really wasn't made for tight funk rock and roll kind of stuff.
Though the chosen few know of his fame, come and join his company, riding free.
I say this particular model is actually called the Twin Track Bronx, which was quite an innovative design back in 1965.
you pay up, or else.
What are you gonna do? Kill me?
I'll teach you a lesson.